Look around at today's world. People are constantly rushing, scrolling endlessly, chasing money, fighting for status, comparing their lives to others online. It seems like no one is truly at peace anymore. Stress is the new normal. Anger spreads faster than kindness, and even success often feels empty. But here's a strange question. Why do so many people keep destroying themselves with their own choices, while a few rare souls simply smile through it all? There is a monk who watches the world fall into chaos, yet his face is calm, his heart unshaken, his smile unbroken. He knows a secret, a way of living that shields him from the storms that break others apart. This isn't about escaping the world or hiding from problems. It's about discovering a kind of strength that most people never even realize they have. Today we will explore the wisdom of the monk who smiles while others destroy themselves. And I'll share with you 7 powerful lessons from his life that can help you stop drowning in the noise of the world and finally find peace, clarity, and unshakable joy within yourself. Most people live like prisoners, though no walls surround them. Their prison is built from desires, attachments, and expectations. They chase approval, always worried about what others think. They cling to possessions, believing happiness is locked inside things they can buy. They hold on to relationships with fear, terrified of being alone. But here's the paradox. The harder you cling, the more fragile your happiness becomes. The moment you depend on the outside world for peace, you give away your power. A bad comment, a lost job, a broken relationship, and suddenly your entire identity collapses. The monk smiles because he has stepped outside this trap. He understands that everything is temporary. The praise of others fades. Wealth comes and goes. Even the body itself is not permanent. If you tie your happiness to what can vanish tomorrow, you will always suffer. Detachment does not mean indifference. It doesn't mean you stop loving, stop caring, or stop enjoying life. It means you learn to experience life fully without clinging to it. You enjoy the beauty of the flower, but you don't despair when it withers, because you knew it could never last forever. This is why the monk smiles when others destroy themselves chasing illusions. He has realized a higher truth. Freedom begins the moment you stop being owned by what you think you own. When you let go of what you cannot control, when you stop chasing what was never meant to stay, you discover a new kind of joy, calm, unshakable, and real. And that joy is the monk's freedom. Most people today live as prisoners of their emotions. A single rude comment can ruin their entire day. A small failure can throw them into a storm of doubt. They allow anger, jealousy, and fear to pull them in every direction, like puppets on strings. They react instantly, snapping in anger, drowning in anxiety, or breaking down under pressure. And the more they let emotions control them, the weaker they become. This is why so many people end up destroying themselves, not because of what happens outside, but because of how they let it consume them inside. But the monk smiles because he has learned a secret that few ever master. Calmness is power. He understands that you cannot always control the storms of life, but you can control the way you face them. Instead of reacting blindly, he observes. Instead of letting emotions decide his actions, he pauses, breathes, and chooses wisely. His calm is not a weakness. It is a shield, a strength that protects him when chaos surrounds him. Think of a still lake. No matter how loud the world around it is, the lake reflects everything clearly because it is calm. But if the water is disturbed, it becomes cloudy and nothing can be seen. Our minds are the same. In calmness, we see truth. In chaos, we see confusion. This is why the monk smiles. His calmness gives him clarity, while others, blinded by rage and fear, destroy themselves without even realizing it. And here lies the lesson for us. Life will never stop testing you. People will provoke you, situations will challenge you, and storms will always come. But if you can master your inner calm, if you can train yourself to pause, breathe, and act with awareness, you become untouchable. The world may shake, but your soul will not. That is the true power of inner calm. In today's world, people are drowning in their own desires. They want more money, more recognition, more possessions. Yet no matter how much they get, it is never enough. There's always another thing to chase, another person to compete with, another dream that feels just out of reach. And in this endless pursuit of more, they lose the very thing they were searching for: peace. Life becomes heavy, complicated, and exhausting. But the monk smiles because his life is free from this weight. He has discovered a truth that few dare to accept. Happiness is not found in adding more, but in needing less. While others fill their homes with things, he empties his heart of craving. While others compare themselves to neighbors and strangers online, he measures his wealth by the calm in his soul. His simplicity is not poverty, it is power. By removing the unnecessary, he creates space for what truly matters: peace, clarity, and inner strength. Think about it. The more you own, the more your possessions own you. The bigger the house, the greater the worry. The more you buy, the more you fear losing it. Simplicity is not about giving up life's blessings. It is about no longer being enslaved by them. When you live simply, you realize you don't need as much as you thought. You begin to see beauty in small moments: a breath of fresh air, a quiet morning, a meal shared with gratitude. This is why the monk smiles while others destroy themselves with greed. He carries no unnecessary burden. His joy cannot be stolen by loss because it was never built on possessions to begin with. Simplicity has made him rich in the only way that truly matters: peace of mind. If you look closely at the world, you'll notice that some of the greatest conflicts, struggles, and even personal failures don't come from outside. They come from the ego. It is the ego that makes someone argue for hours, not to seek truth, but to win. It is the ego that drives people to destroy relationships rather than apologize. It is the ego that pushes people to show off, to compare, and to desperately prove that they are somebody. And yet, in this endless chase, they exhaust themselves. The ego always demands more. It is never satisfied. Even when you win, it whispers, "You must win again." Even when you are admired, it whispers, "Don't let them forget you." Ego is a fire that keeps burning, and if you keep feeding it, it will eventually burn you too. But the monk smiles because he has learned how to step outside of this trap. He does not need to prove that he is smarter, stronger, or more successful than anyone else. He does not crumble when people ignore him, nor does he rise too high when people praise him. His sense of worth is not borrowed from the outside world. It is rooted in something deeper, something unshakable. By taming his ego, he has found freedom. Think about how much energy people waste protecting their ego. Someone criticizes them, and they spend days replaying the words in their head, plotting how to get even. Someone else succeeds, and instead of being inspired, they become jealous and bitter. Ego turns life into a constant war where you're always fighting to defend an image of yourself. But the monk smiles because he has walked away from this battlefield. He doesn't need to fight because he no longer lives for appearances. The truth is this: the ego is never your friend. It pretends to make you stronger, but in reality, it makes you fragile. If your worth depends on being praised, then one insult can break you. If your happiness depends on being superior, then someone else's success becomes your suffering. The monk understands this, and that is why he lets go. In humility, he finds strength. In silence, he finds freedom. And this is why the monk smiles while others destroy themselves. They are prisoners of their ego, exhausted from pretending, competing, and defending illusions. But he is free, and in that freedom, he is untouchable. True power doesn't shout. It doesn't need applause. True power is quiet, steady, and at peace with itself. In a world where everyone is chasing after control of people, control of outcomes, control of circumstances, the monk reminds us of a truth that most have forgotten. Real power doesn't come from dominating the outside world, but from mastering the inner one. That is why, while others exhaust themselves trying to bend reality to their will, he simply smiles untouched by the chaos. Most people believe peace comes after everything is fixed. When the bills are paid, the relationships are stable, the future is secure. But the monk reveals a secret. Peace is not the result of perfect conditions. It is the condition you create within yourself, no matter what is happening outside. Inner peace is not dependent on a quiet world. It is the ability to remain quiet in a noisy world. And that is true power. Think about it. When someone insults you, when life throws unexpected storms, or when everything feels uncertain, what usually happens? Most people lose their ground. They react, they fight, they shout, they spiral. And in doing so, they hand over their power to the very thing that disturbed them. The monk refuses to do this. He knows that whoever controls your reaction controls you. That is why he smiles, because he will not let others' actions dictate the state of his soul. This calmness is not passivity, it is strength disguised in silence. Inner peace doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care so deeply that you refuse to waste your energy on what destroys you. It's the ability to stand in the middle of chaos and remain whole, to walk through storms without letting the storm live inside you. That peace is unshakable. It becomes a shield. And it is the one thing no enemy, no insult, no failure, and no tragedy can ever take from you unless you give it away. The monk's smile is therefore not naive. It is revolutionary. It declares, "You can throw the fire of anger, but I will not burn. You can try to drag me into your darkness, but I will stay in my light. You can destroy yourself, but you will not destroy me." That is the highest form of strength. So remember, the calmest person in the room is always the most powerful. While others destroy themselves with anger, greed, and fear, you rise above it all by guarding your peace as your most valuable treasure. That is not weakness, it is mastery. Most people think strength is measured by how loudly you can shout, how quickly you can fight back, or how aggressively you can dominate a situation. But the monk smiles because he knows true strength is not found in how you act. It's found in how you choose not to react. Look around at today's world. People are prisoners of their impulses. Someone cuts them off in traffic, and they explode in rage. A single insult online, and they spiral into arguments for hours. One setback at work, and they drown in self-pity. In every case, they are not in control. Their emotions are. The monk is different. He has mastered the art of pausing, the art of observing, the art of choosing his response instead of being a slave to his impulses. That mastery is what gives him freedom while others destroy themselves. The truth is, anyone can be calm when life is easy, but only the wise can be calm when life is hard. That is why the monk's smile is so powerful. It is not born from ignorance of pain, but from the discipline of not letting pain dictate his actions. Every insult becomes an opportunity to practice patience. Every setback becomes a chance to sharpen resilience. Every act of betrayal becomes a teacher of detachment. Where others see attacks, he sees lessons. And here lies the paradox. The one who does not react ends up having the greatest influence. Think of it. When someone tries to provoke you and you stay calm, they lose their power over you. When someone expects you to break, but you stand firm, they are forced to face their own weakness. This is why the monk is untouchable. No one can control him through anger, fear, or manipulation. His reaction, or rather his lack of destructive reaction, is his fortress. This is not easy. It takes years of discipline, mindfulness, and self-awareness. It requires training the mind every day, because your mind is like a wild horse. It will run wherever it wants unless you guide it. But once mastered, it becomes your greatest ally. And in that mastery, you discover a strength that no storm, no enemy, and no tragedy can defeat. So remember this. The strongest person in the room is not the one who shouts the loudest, fights the hardest, or seeks revenge the quickest. The strongest person is the one who has mastered themselves, the one who can walk through fire and still smile. That is why the monk stands unshaken while others crumble. His power is not in controlling the world, it is in controlling himself. At first glance, the monk's smile seems almost strange. How can someone smile while surrounded by anger, destruction, and chaos? Isn't that naive? Isn't that weakness? No. The monk smiles because he has discovered the rarest form of strength, a strength that transcends the world itself. His smile is not a denial of suffering. It is a declaration that suffering no longer owns him. Most people are trapped in a cycle of destruction. not because of what happens to them, but because of how they carry those wounds. They let pain turn into bitterness, anger into revenge, and disappointment into despair. Slowly, they destroy themselves from the inside. The monk refuses this path. His smile is his shield, but also his sword. It disarms negativity and transforms it into wisdom. He knows that pain will come, but suffering is optional, and that choice, to rise above suffering, is what makes him free. Think about it. The world can take away your money, your status, even the people you love. But the one thing no one can take from you is your inner state, unless you hand it over. The monk guards this inner state with fierce discipline. Every day he trains his mind the way a warrior trains his body. While others sharpen swords, he sharpens awareness. While others build walls of fear, he builds walls of peace. While others fight for control over the world, he wins the ultimate battle, the battle over himself. This is why his smile is so powerful. It is the mark of victory over the self. A victory that no opponent can undo. When the world sees a man smiling while everything burns, they are confused, even threatened, because deep down they realize he possesses something they do not, a freedom that cannot be bought, faked, or stolen. That smile is unshakable confidence. It says, "You cannot break me, you cannot touch me, because I no longer belong to this chaos. I belong to peace." And here lies the greatest lesson. When you reach this state, you no longer just survive the storms of life. You become the calm within them. People will look at you and wonder how you remain so steady while they crumble. Some will envy you, some will mock you, some will try to drag you down. But others, those who are ready, will be inspired by your strength. Your peace will awaken something inside them. Your smile will become a silent teaching, showing them that it is possible to rise above the destruction and live untouchable. This is why the monk smiles, because he has mastered the art of being free in a world of chains, calm in a world of storms, alive in a world of destruction. His smile is not just his strength, it is his legacy. It is proof that the highest form of power is not to control others, but to master yourself so completely that the world can do nothing but watch in awe. So the question is, will you join the world in destroying yourself, or will you learn to smile like the monk, unshaken, untouchable, and free? The untouchable smile. In a world where people destroy themselves with anger, greed, fear, and endless reactions, the monk stands apart. He doesn't fight the same battles as everyone else, because he has already won the greatest battle, the battle within. Through detachment, he found freedom. Through awareness, he found clarity. Through patience, he discovered resilience. Through silence, he uncovered wisdom. Through inner peace, he discovered true strength. Through self-mastery, he became unshakable. And through his smile, he transcended the chaos of the world. His smile is not weakness. It is not ignorance. It is a message to the world. You cannot break me because I no longer give you the power to do so. And that is the ultimate lesson. While others burn themselves out chasing illusions, clinging to anger and reacting to every storm, you can rise above. You can be untouchable. You can walk through fire and remain whole. You can choose to protect your peace like your greatest treasure. So the next time chaos comes knocking, remember the monk. Remember the smile. Remember that the most powerful person is not the one who destroys others, but the one who refuses to destroy themselves. Be that person. Be the monk in your own life. And when the world wonders why you're still smiling while everything falls apart, you'll know the truth, because nothing outside of you has the power to shake the freedom you have built within.